Okay, let's get started. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am Dr. Mike Donahue, and I am the professor for the spring second term 2022, teaching CPRM 830, which is going to focus on the security control function of protection. Why just protection? That's going to make a little bit more sense here in about 2-3 minutes when I kind of explain a little bit of the sequencing of your courses, since I teach security measures 2 as well. So I may actually have some of you guys again as your professor as you continue on through the course. Let me cover a couple things in the intro here. So my bio is, of course, on the Canvas page. I'm coming from the military government side, significant career in the Air Force. I'm also coming from the offensive warfare side of the house. So I'm not a cybersecurity IT expert by trade. I was in the military working with offensive cyber units, doing a lot of the policy, doing a lot of legal aspects, and some of the operational planning of how we weave cyber warfare into other types of warfare. And that's been done with steady state, nation state threats. And then more specifically, my background is working with extremists and violent extremist organizations and terrorist organizations, mainly ISIS back in 2015 through 2018, where we did a lot of cyber operations against that group when they invaded Iraq and Syria. So that's all my bio if you want to look at it. And but for me, I've been teaching for University of New Hampshire for 2 years now, and I teach I teach 820, which is the policy course. Just taught that last fall. I also teach 850, which is Security Measures 2, which focuses on detection, which is one of 5 security central functions that you eventually walk through in this entire program. This will be the first time I teach 830, which of course takes a step backwards, and it's going to focus on the first 2 cybersecurity central functions of identity, or identify and protect. So that's the sequencing of some of your courses. You'll actually do incident response and recovery in 860, I believe, as you move on into the program and so forth. I'm also a capstone advisor, where just did a capstone for a graduate that just completed the entire program back in December. So that could be another opportunity here in a year or so, as you start to wind down the course, take part in another capstone project as well. So that covers the intro of me and a little bit of sort of methodology of how 830, 850, and then eventually 860 are sort of those 3 core courses that will cover all 5 of those security functions of identify, protect, detect, respond, and recovery. So that's kind of how that sequence goes. For this course, 830, I'm looking at notes because I want to make sure I cover everything as well. When you start off this course, there's 3 key documents that you're going to really master when you walk away and graduate from this course. The CIS 20 security controls, the NIST cybersecurity framework, and then the NIST special publication 800-53. The way I stated those is the preference that I like personally in how to use those documents. I like the CIS control document first. I think it's the most organized and well laid out. It's also only 70 pages. I'm coming from an operations standpoint, so I don't like long, lengthy tech manuals or lengthy documents. So the CIS is my favorite. Right after that is the cybersecurity framework. That's another well done product, which is only about 70 plus pages. Then unfortunately you get into the NIST 853. Thankfully, there's a lot of other courses that probably focus and emphasize more on the 853. because that thing is over 453 pages, I believe, or roughly so. So you're going to have access to all these. My assumption, of course, is you've already familiar with these documents. You've already used them in previous classes. You're definitely going to use them in this one. But again, you're going to look at specifically more from the protection function. And I'll continue on that here in a couple minutes as I turn the page. And we're going to talk about the modules real quick. So like all your other courses you've taken, there's 4 modules. That's 2 weeks per module, and that gives you your 8-week course. So for the first module here, you're going to do an introduction video. You've probably already done an introduction video for a previous course. It's very similar to how those are done, but it's going to be specific to the topic of what 830 presents. So you can't really recycle your previous video. You make a video for almost every course. So don't try to recycle a video, just go ahead and produce a new one. And think about what that question specifically is asking for. The other things we'll walk through, so there's a discussion board with protection, and then module 2, we look at some terminology and lexicon related to cybersecurity in the protection phase. You're going to hear the acronym CIA, which is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. 3 key things about what for cybersecurity: protecting data. This is all about data, but there's unique differences between what CIA means when it comes to protecting data. So that's kind of the focus on that. You have a knowledge check in module 2. You can take the knowledge check as many times as you want to get a better score. And then you also have a video presentation in module 2. For module 3, you'll have an exam that's going to be cumulative. So that's everything that you've learned up until module 3. 45-minute exam, which has a combination of short answer, true, false, multiple choice. This is very typical of the 830, 850, 860 course. So you'll see this type of format. If not already, you're going to see it here and as you move on into the 850, 860 format as well. Then finally for mod 4, just one assignment for the last 2 weeks. It's going to be an essay. And the essay was usually about 3 to 6 pages. Again, another common type of format for these 3 courses that go through all the security functions. Now, one word of advice for the security functions. I know your videos for this thing, it will only be about 3-4 minutes, and that's fine. As the professor, I do a longer video just because this is all online, and I take this opportunity to just talk about the whole entire course. And I'll put this in an announcement, maybe do one Zoom session, maybe between mod 2 and mod 3, more of just a professional development discussion, because I think in an online course it's great to maybe have a professional development session with all of your professors. We all come from unique backgrounds. For me, 30 years working on the government side, and especially working offensive cyber warfare, it's a very unique perspective. We can talk about that. We can talk about nation state threats. I am working and closely monitoring what's going on with Ukraine and Russia right now, and looking at the cyber warfare side that's kind of going on behind the scenes of the terrible conventional war that's going on in the physical spaces of Ukraine. So we can talk about things like that, and I'll make an announcement and see if you guys are interested. Be happy to post and do a Zoom session between mods 2 and 4. We can just talk about anything in cybersecurity if you like. Now, for the security controls for 830, I'm just going to remind people how this kind of works. A couple of discussion boards will ask you to focus on AKA security control. And sometimes I get questions, well, what exactly does that mean? Like I said, if I was taking this class, as soon as I see AKA security control, I will go to the CIS 20 security controls. And then I will take a specific security control and then say, okay, what is the assignment asking for? Oh, so here's an example. Let me look at CIS control number 4, which says control administrative privileges. Okay, common sense, right? We all of us who use IT systems for an organization are all gonna have tiered type of privileges based on, are we a simple employee? Are we an administrator? Are we engineer architect? Do I work in a classified department where I have additional access compared to other employees? All those things are kind of fall into this control. But you can't just pick CIS control 4 because we're focusing on the function of protection. So when you look in there, you look at CIS 4, and then you have to go down the list and you'll see things like identify, protect, detect. So 4-3 or 4-4 are both aligned to the protect function, which is dedicated administrative accounts or use unique passwords. So when you do specific security controls, make sure you do, in this case, I'm going to go to 4, but now I have to go down to look at things under the protect function, which is 4.3 and 4.4. Those are just 2 examples. If you're happy with using in this document, knock yourself out. But I always recommend, this is kind of how I learned them, is start out small, work your way bigger. So CIS control and the cybersecurity framework I like using first, and then I'll compare what I found in those to maybe within this document as the third option. So you can take whatever approach you like, but that's the one I always recommend because it works for me, and I've heard a lot of students kind of take the same approach as well. So that's about it for me. I will post this in the Mod 1 discussion. I look forward to teaching all of you. I think there's about 8 to 10 of you, which is about normal course load. Again, this is a graduate level course. I think we have some undergraduates who are working on graduate level courses as well. So this is more conceptual. This is more thought provoking, a little bit more research driven than a traditional course in undergraduate. So writing is essential as far as not only expressing your key points, but also how to express your thought, typical grammar, structure, format as well. Having gone through my doctorate program, I almost learned how to write all over again. And I say that sort of wholeheartedly, but in the end, I realized that I thought I was a pretty good writer, but you never know until you challenge yourself even more, and then you find out how much better you can be at something. So I'm not a huge stickler for that stuff, but I will be looking at quality writing as well, especially in a master's program, which we all do as professors under this program, is to stress quality writing. I want to congratulate all of you for picking this program. University of Hampshire is a terrific school. I'm very impressed with the instructors within this course, so I'm honored to be part of the team, and I'm honored to be part of your academic journey as you go through this master's degree program. So if you got any questions, of course, reach out. Again, you can call me Dr. Mike, Professor, either one works for me. We'll have a great 8 weeks, and we're going to talk about cybersecurity with a war going on, believe it or not. And that's kind of a unique perspective right now as we're looking at how cyber warfare is evolving right before our eyes in real time as we're going to walk through this course. So that's always an interesting time when we're taking a deep dive into this type of career field. So I think I've talked enough. Again, welcome to the course, and I will post an announcement about maybe a midterm professional development session as well. So I will see you guys throughout the next 8 weeks. So take care.